Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hope everything's well in your lives. I'm pumped and excited. I just got back from Davos. It's been such an incredible experience. I go there pretty much almost every other year. And so this one was definitely a unique one. So for those of you who were at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland this past week, welcome back. I know the time back is always like a whirlwind, just being a part of so many different activations and conversations and partnerships and just learning periods. To come back to reality, it's crazy, but that's where we get the work done. So I'm really excited to be back, not only home but also in the thick of real-time conversations with my community. And this one is a really important one because in between talking about entrepreneurship, innovation, economic development, we also have to talk about leadership. How do we show up in the world? How do we take our place in the world? And this is a real important conversation for my leaders in the room who've been trying year after year after year to plan out how to really make a significant dent in the world, especially with the amount of noise that we have today. And this is your 2026 Rebrand Reset, where I'm going to share with you how to reinvent your personal brand and business to not only attract opportunities, speaking engagement, and scalable revenue, but really position yourself to leave a legacy of impact, integrity, and really contribute to your community in a way that people probably never thought that you could. And so, really excited to be on the live with all of you today to have this conversation. And as many of you know, if you have never been in any of my lives before, let me formally just quickly introduce myself. My name is Christine and Tim. I'm your host of this monthly masterclass live session. And I come on live maybe once or twice a month, usually to share insights and strategies to help you scale your business and your personal brand online. As a thought leader on entrepreneurship, tech, and personal branding, I love to share pretty much behind the scenes advice of what I've done to be successful in this space, but also what I've done to support thousands of entrepreneurs in our program and a curriculum to help along that path as well. And as a 3-time CEO, I will tell you, I've had the privilege of building multiple companies on a global scale. I've spoken at over 300 different stages around the world, including the United Nations, Davos, TEDx, you name it. I've been on that stage. I personally have grew my personal brand to multiple accolades and 6 figures, making the Forbes list, being featured in multiple media outlets, to the point where I have really trial and error been able to now get ahead of my personal brand to what I have today, which is starting my year every single year with a personal brand business plan. I'm going to speak more on this later on. But the point is, if you are tired of trying to figure out your personal branding strategy and you want to start with a clear, profitable business model around your expertise, this is a really great conversation to help you reset not only your strategy, but also your thinking, your frame of mind. I think a lot of personal branding advice is very outdated, very archaic, and just very unhelpful right now. Things that used to work in the past don't work the way it used to. And so this is a great way to help you really reposition yourself. Now, I know you've probably heard a lot of different advice around personal branding. We all know it's an important conversation, but sometimes it gets over complicated really quick because one expert will tell you to post more on social media, another will tell you to launch a course, another will tell you, network really hard. And it's really the reason why you don't see anything working with your personal branding strategy where you're not, let's say, getting invited to big stages. Maybe you're not getting the accolades you believe you deserve. Maybe you're not being able to scale movements and initiatives that you're trying to do on a global scale, simply because you don't have a unified strategy. You're getting bits and pieces here and there, but there's no unified strategy to really execute on that personal brand mission. And most entrepreneurs in general are building their personal brand in pieces and not as a business, right? And so this conversation, we're going to cover a lot. We're going to talk about AI trends and in this, crazy economy that we're living. We're going to talk about personal brand reinvention and what that looks like, and then cover some of the three areas that people tend to struggle with when it comes to converting their personal brand into opportunities. So that's social media conversations, newsletters, and speaking engagement opportunities. So we'll cover all of the above. But to get started, I think it's really important that I address certain things that is really affecting why many of you are on this call today, right? Why it's been such a new wave of engaging and why it's been a little bit tough building a personal brand in today's economy. And I'll start by saying that first and foremost, there's some economic and AI trends you need to understand why things are the way they are. First and foremost, there's a really big shift in business right now. There's a rise of, entrepreneurs and founders really thinking more strategically about their tech stack. And founders are no longer scaling by just adding more people, right? They're building smarter systems around their businesses. They're thinking about AI and automation. They're thinking about the human element of doing that automation. They're really thinking about not just speed, but scale in a more integrity focused way. They're thinking about their decision making stack, right? We as all as founders are trying to be more lean, more structured, more streamlined, but the same facet, more efficient, more fast, and more mobile. So we are no longer as entrepreneurs just doing things because it looks like a nice to do. We are now strategically making decisions like, okay, if this is what people are doing, is it right for me and my business? Is it right for the community that I serve? So people are being more strategic with their decisions. And as a result, optimizing the results of those decisions with the right tech stack and the right tools to make sure that they're able to get to a faster result in a more efficient way. The second thing that is really obvious, and many of you probably before even, sign up to be a part of this session, recognize that we live in a recession, but also that despite the economy and where it's contracting, trust is definitely broken. I've said this time and time again. I look at things with a side eye before I sign up for it. Let's be completely honest. We're all scrutinizing everything. We're scrutinizing people's accolades because now people are making things up. We scrutinize people's, achievements because now people pay to play. We're scrutinizing people's milestones and like everything is being scrutinized. So trust is the new currency especially in an AI saturated market, right? So as more and more people are optimizing and scaling, there was a quote that they said that, the next $1 billion company is going to be from a founder of one, right? Because now you could scale an entire company just by yourself, just with the tools that are available at your disposal. And with that said, people could really brand themselves in so unique ways and it's full of hot air, right? And I want to share with you that I've built my personal brand, to be honest with you, the hard way. Even though people have seen a lot of success, people have seen me, literally collaborate with heads of state, celebrities, be featured in every single media outlet today, speaking on the top stages of a lifetime. Okay. I still know that I built my personal brand the hard way, building trust, building relationships, and I still vouch for that. I do optimize for speed. I do have a framework. I do have a strategy to accelerate my career when it comes to my personal brand, but I still believe old school, building a strong foundational layer around trust and integrity is the best way to go, because when things fall apart is what people know about you fundamentally that's going to stand the test of time. Okay. So building a brand that signal clarity, because a lot of people are doing too many things. So simplify what you're known for. So clarity, integrity, and expertise. that people can see immediately is so crucial right now. So trust is the new currency. And the last but not least, there is a shift to people trying to move away from the hustle culture. I don't believe in it. I am a wife and a mother of 5 beautiful children. So I am not someone who advocates for posting like a mad person every single day. I advertise for really having visibility, but strategic visibility, right? So the era of being everywhere and doing all the things all at the same time is just done. People are now looking for peace, trying to avoid burnout, and try to build with strategic visibility. So those are the things that's happening in the background. With that said, with all these different shifts happening in the economy, in different industries, but just societally, when you think about personal brand reinvention, right? Why some of you might be struggling to position your personal brand properly so that way it gains you opportunities, gains you multiple revenue streams, and just opens doors with you organically and peacefully and strategically and consistently. And sometimes I sit down and I'm like, how did I build this brand, right? That has become an engine for opportunity for me. Okay. And a long time ago, I asked myself a question. How do I make sure that my personal brand functions as a trust engine, which means is building loyalty and trust with people immediately? That is operating as a career accelerator, because why take 20 years to build something where I could build my career in a more aligned fashion so that way I could not only achieve certain goals and milestones at a faster rate, but also be able to balance with the things that really matter to me, which is being at home with family, building a family unit and growing that, right? And third, a revenue stream, right? So your personal brand, to be very strategically and tangible with that, should be a trust engine, a career accelerator, and a revenue system. Okay. Hands down. If your personal brand is not giving you those 3 things, then your ROI is shot to the ground. Okay. Because a lot of times people are building their personal brand for the wrong KPIs, for clout, for social media followers that never convert into anything, for visibility into networks that doesn't really fit. So I've seen people dance for visibility, but get mad that people know them from dancing, and that's not what they're known for, right? So there's a disconnect, right? So again, 3 things that your personal brand, if you want the actual KPIs of what your personal brand should be giving you as an ROI, so you know that your personal brand is working effectively to grow your reputation in a way that you feel proud. One, again, is a trust engine. 2, it should be a career accelerator. And 3, it should be a revenue system, hands down. So one of the things I always share is that if you know this to be true, then what is the playbook? What is the strategy to build a personal brand that actually gets you this? And this is why I want this to be a reset. I want to kill the thoughts that you have about personal branding and reset your mind frame on what a personal brand can give you. One, it's not that it's going to give you clout. It's not for people who are extroverts. Like all those different myths that people have about personal branding, I think we are all on a level playing field and understand that a personal brand now is necessary for people to even think of considering working or collaborating with you. I do this all the time, and I look at what my behavior patterns have been to understand the zeitgeist of what's happening in real time around the world. And I will tell you, if anyone interacts with me, I look them up on LinkedIn first. I looked them up. I looked up like their background, what they do, what they're about. I make sure to understand who this person is. So that's mean whether you like it or not, your personal brand is signaling a message. And so, in order for you to actually structure this, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you have spurts of excitement and then you just die down, it's because you don't have a plan. And what I'm going to share with you is a framework for creating your first personal brand business plan. Okay. This is literally the key to helping you show up every single year, every single month, every single week, every single day in alignment with excitement and with energy and enthusiasm because you have clarity. And even if there's certain things that you're not clear on, just having a business plan to frame your direction, your path helps you stand out probably beyond 90% of the world. And I will tell you the reason why I say 90%, because right now we are wrapping up on a time where every year people make new goals, right? Every year people make new ultimatums as to how they're going to show up in the world. And did you know less than 8% of people fulfill their goals by the end of the year? And part of it is because we're making multiple plans and they're not pieced together. There's no connective alignment or thread tissue between all the plans and all the habits that you're trying to create. What a personal brand business plan does is like it really centralizes all the different ideas, but also all the different things that you know works for you to execute on that and leave the experiments as more of an additional thing, right? So what happens is you're able to pull together your social media strategy, your connector strategy, your event strategy, your growth strategy all in one place. So when you feel lost or confused or you need a daily checklist, you go back to that personal brand business plan. And for those of you who have not been able to work with me in a deeper capacity, comment on the chat on the chat or on the thread personal brand, okay? And I will share with you how we could help you build out your personal brand strategy, okay? Your personal brand business plan is going to mind blow you. So I'm going to share with you how I got to this point because first and foremost, I remember um this is like I'm aging myself now, but about 14 or so years ago, I launched my first company, okay? And I remember talking specifically about the company everywhere I go. It was all about Vendetti, my first company. Okay. And I did a great job building a brand around that company. But no matter what I was doing, as I was building this company, I realized that, I just was getting incremental growth with this company. And then I got the opportunity where my alma mater actually invited me to come speak about the art of building a business. I mean, I was doing really well with the business. It was growing. It was getting really good visibility. And I was invited to share my story. And that was the first time that I took to public speaking, really, in that time frame. Got on stage, shared my journey, and shared my thought leadership and strategies around personal branding and building a business. Little did I know that I was building a personal brand because that audience obviously shared it with their network. And over time, every speaking engagement that I done, every interview that I did, every event that I showed up and networked with the story of this business, I was building my personal brand. And eventually opportunities was coming from different directions and it was getting overwhelming because I wasn't being strategic. And then a couple of years ago, and this is probably around the pandemic time, actually, funny enough, because I was managing it all, but holding by a thread. Around the pandemic time in 2020, I said, like, let me actually wake up and just say, like, look, as of now, going forward, I'm going to have a Word document where I'm going to create a business plan for my personal brand because I realized, like, I'm an entrepreneur. I've built multiple successful businesses. I have a business plan for each one of those businesses, but I've never created an actual business plan for me to know how do I want to monetize my expertise? How do I want to show up in the world? How do I want to introduce myself? What products do I want to do? And a lot of people call this career strategy, but a lot of your career strategy is tied to your personal brand. So wherever where you place it, if you're feeling like you're juggling multiple goals, it's because you have not created a cohesive thread to bring it all together. And that was the first time that I sat down and I sat down on paper. And by the way, the first time I did this, it took me a couple of days, close to a week, to put my personal brand business plan together. And that year alone, I not only hit seven figures, where I generated thousands and millions across my business portfolio, but more importantly, I got more visibility and I did less. I charged more for speaking engagements. Like literally everything in alignment happened in that year in ways that I couldn't imagine, to the point where I was able to do things that I never was able to do before. I was able to do a sabbatical. We were able to welcome another child in the family. I was able to start a farm. So many things energetically changed for me in my life because I was no longer just doing things in bits and pieces. And since that year, every single year, I did a personal brand business plan. And every single year I got better and better. So the first time it took me a week. The second time it took me about 3 days. The third time it took me about a day. And now I'm able to actually create a personal brand business plan because now I have a framework, a blueprint, and a script to really document everything, just kind of like copy and paste and change and depend on what my goals are for the year, and do usually sometimes within an hour and a half. And that 1 hour and a half becomes my blueprint for the entire year. So I come in every single year ready to go. I'm smiling right now because I'm just like, it's such it's such a it's such a good feeling to show up and know what you want. Okay? Like just FYI, when you're able to just show up in the world, just know what you want and know how to be intentional with what you want your personal brand to do for you, how you want it to not only serve others, but serve you in the process. so you show up with clarity and intention, it does something to your confidence, guys. Like you just show up like when things are hitting the fan here, you're just like, yo, it's okay. It wasn't a part of the plan. And if it is part of the plan, it's not going as planned, it's okay. Like this is part of the learning process. But you're focused. I don't know how to describe that feeling, but it feels really good. Okay. So, what I want to share with you is that business plan model and what I prioritize in terms of like how I put my structure together. And just to show you on the screen here, I'm going to share this with you. This is what the plan looks like. Okay. First and foremost, is 5 things that I prioritize every single year that helps me function with my personal brand business plan. First, every single year, I get realigned with my purpose. How do I want to introduce myself in rooms? So that way, when I'm not in a room, how I want other people to introduce me. So, usually at the end of this, when I do this exercise with other people, with other clients, other entrepreneurs, I'm like, what's your personal brand purpose statement? How do you want to be introduced? So, for a lot of people know me as like, hi, my name is Christina Tim. I'm a serial entrepreneur, global keynote speaker who help other people create multiple movements, right? Or I help the entrepreneurs build their businesses and their personal brands, right? So that's my purpose statement. So a lot of times by having that, first off, I get alignment across my social media accounts, my website, my newsletter, but also, again, I'm able to create an energetic effect into the universe where I have clarity of purpose. So I have clarity of intention and I have clarity of opportunity. So I become a magnet for that because now people know how to introduce me to opportunities. Okay. So that's the first step, right? And for a lot of people, we go through an exercise. It takes less than an hour for them to get clarity of discovering what they're known for, what they've done in the past, and what their purpose statement will be. Now, that purpose statement might change year to year, it might change in a year, but the point is you got to show up with that purpose. It helps ground you. So, again, not only so you know how to show up in rooms, but so other people could also show up for you and introduce you to rooms that you don't even know were possible. Okay. Here's where we go from purpose to monetization. Like a lot of people try to build an audience before trying to monetize. I don't think that. I think you actually should put it out there. We're all in, like, once you turn 18, okay, and you start going into the workforce, you've already got expertise somewhere. You're one step ahead of someone. So I see a lot of people try to, oh, well, I didn't, until I'm at this stage of my career, then I could build a personal brand. You already got the reputation straight out the gate. Once you enter the workspace, you're already there. So as a result, you could actually package your expertise immediately, literally today. My child could actually monetize her personal brand right now. Okay. And that product becomes how you package your expertise. So some people it's one-on-one consulting. Some people it's a digital course. Some people it's a conference. Some people it's a podcast. Whatever it is, package your expertise into something immediately. Put a price tag on it. Okay. And what happens is once you have that product, you have that package, you have that price point, anytime you're engaging with the world, if someone say, like, how do I work with you or how do I collaborate with you further? You have this is how you could work with me on a further capacity. You have your call to action. And again, remember I talked about how to introduce yourself in the right rooms by having your purpose. That's the first step. Now that you have your product, now you know how to convert those opportunities into a revenue stream. Do you hear where I'm coming from? And what happens is we all look for scale too quickly. But if you're able to convert one person to work with you financially, then you could create an audience and convert it at scale. This is where we go into step 3, which is platform. And platform really is you selecting a media channel to have conversations about how people can work with you on a regular basis. So now you're going beyond your immediate circle and now you're going to the universe because the internet is the information highway of the world, is where everyone's situated. So now you can grow through platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook. I suggest LinkedIn because it's the best, B2C and B2B community that you can find in the world. Okay. Now, once you're able to select that strategy platform, for me, it's always been LinkedIn, then you could create a pipeline. And where pipeline comes in is where you create, like now, a way of converting that audience into clients, okay? Converting that visibility into clients. And I want to bring clarity to something here, okay? I want you to get this visual. The business model of monetizing your personal brand is these 3 areas: the product, the platform, the pipeline. And what I teach and share with people what I've done over the years that's worked for me and work with all the entrepreneurs I work with is what I call the power of one business model. Okay. Where I'm literally every single year, If I'm able to always show up live like this and share with people how to work with me in a package form, the product, and always show up on a platform consistently on a calendar schedule, LinkedIn, and be able to have a call to action as how they could do this. My pipeline, which is why I convert, it's one product, one platform, one conversion event every single time. The conversion event is me going live because people no longer trust emails and DMs. People trust having a live interaction with you. I have a business model to consistently monetize my brand. And if you see the visuals here, package that brand. The CRM is really the operating model to do that. At a certain point, when I do this on a repeated basis, and this is what I teach people how to do with their personal brand business plan, is you do this on a consistent basis where you're now starting to do cash flow with your personal brand. Now you start to grow, you start to eventually have a playbook. And this is where you start to see possibilities at scale. Okay. This is where you start to now get multiple speaking engagement opportunities. You say, hey, this year I'm going to launch a podcast. This year I'm going to do a TED talk. This year I'm going to do this. This year I'm going to do that. You start to have all these different ways of being able to grow your brand. All right. So with that said, now you have a playbook. And this is how I've been doing repeated. So this is where people get confused. When people are like, oh, like I have a strong personal brand, but I'm not able to convert it, it's because maybe sometimes they don't have a packaged product. Or I've seen this so many times. Maybe you're stretching yourself thin where you're posting on too many different platforms and you have no consistent strategy or calendar or showing up in one place. Or maybe you have, people know you, they can work with you, you have the product, you show up consistently on LinkedIn, but you don't know how to do a conversion of it. You're posting on social media, but you don't know how to go live and communicate in a way that gets people to say, okay, I want to work with you. You don't have a business model for your personal brand. It's this consistent cycle, right? And I see a lot of people are now DMing me questions, and this is really great, where this is the process that when you do on a repeated basis, gives you literally the blueprint for you to say, like, this year I want to do 125K with my personal brand. This year I want to hit 7 figures with my personal brand. This year I want to be able to do this, and this. Now you can start to foreshadow and pre-plan your personal brand ROI for the year because you have a business model for your brand. And now eventually you have a playbook to start experimenting again and getting into other opportunities. And this is going to happen time and time again as you start to grow. Okay. And at the end of the day, what this happens is, like, every single year, as you kick off the year, this is why I'm doing this right now with all of you, is that you start to be able to map out your personal brand business plan where you have a way of checking in quarterly, monthly, execute on a weekly basis, and show up on a daily basis with clarity and intention because you know what your plan is. Okay. So the framework, I just want to see, are there any questions on the comments thread just to make sure? Let me see if there are any questions on this because I see a lot of people are commenting and giving them thumbs up. All right, guys, I want to see if there's any comments on this. Okay. Good, 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 good. All right. So this is literally the framework to do that. And let me be clear. This is not a framework that I'm just putting out there because it sounds pretty and nice. Let me run this back again so you understand what I've been doing over the past decade that got me to literally be on global stages, get media, visibility, get to be able to travel the world, see multiple places, be able to monetize my brand, literally create visibility at scale globally on a regular basis. Okay. Let me run this by you again so you understand that, yes, this is a beautiful visual, but I want to speak in practical terms so you understand. The first step to creating a personal brand business plan that works for you is having your purpose being clear. So that way you can show up with clarity and intention. And the best way to do that is we go through a process where you sit down and think about, here's my accolades, here's my achievements, here's my expertise. But what do I want to start serving the world with? With all the talents and expertise that I've accumulated as of today, how do I want to serve the world? At that point, you make a decision how you want to show up. And what happens is now you have clarity and intention to now show up with what we call a positioning purpose statement, where in one line you say, okay, with all the things I achieve, this is who I want to serve. I want to serve women. I want to do this for women, and I want to do that. So what you say, the who is, my name is Christina Tim. I help entrepreneurs. That's my who. To be able to monetize, scale their business and personal brand. This is what I do. Why? Because I want them to have fulfilled lifestyles. That's my positional statement. I have multiple expertise standpoints. But what happens is I'm able to show up and make a decision on how I want to leverage that expertise and that talent and serve the world because I have my purpose. That's what helps you show up with confidence. And by able to show up and do that on a repeated basis, now I got people in different rooms making introductions on my behalf. I get introduced to speaking engagements. I get introduced to product deals, brand deals, just because my purpose is clear to the world. That's step one. Now you want to get to the point where, okay, that visibility is creating conversation. It's creating conversation for you to show up properly, but it's also creating conversations behind closed doors. Now you're like, hey, let me make a decision on how I want to package this for people to tap in and pick on my brain. You ever get that question when people say, I want to pick your brain? But usually the person's sporadic. They're asking a bunch of questions. There's no clarity. You know what questions you need to be answering to someone for someone to be able to have success in the domain that you've succeeded in already. That's what we call packaging your expertise into a product. Now you figured out a way to monetize your expertise in a packaged way. And that could be, again, in the form of consulting, a course, a conference, right? But you've made a decision like, this is how I want to show up, because some people don't want to do a course. Some people want to do consulting. Some people hate consulting. Some people want to do coaching. Now, again, you see how I'm talking about decision trees, right? Now you're making a decision on how you want to package your expertise for the world to consume your strategic way of doing something. But guess what? 3 people have the same expertise, but 3 people have different way of executing on it, right? And some people, and I say this all the time, want you as a product because how you smile, where you're from, your story, your journey, they want it from you and not from the other person. So this is the reason why I say every single person on this planet could create a packaged product expertise, because we're all uniquely different. Okay. And by creating this second step, now you're like, okay, where can I share not only my purpose, but this package vision I have to help people, because that product is serving people with a solution to their problems. Where can I have conversations with people? That's the platform. You make a decision where you want to show up consistently. So for me, it's LinkedIn. And that's what I advise people. So people now know where to find you, where to engage with you, where to have conversations with you. Because a lot of times, if someone wants to work with you, they want to know what you think about this, right? We're having a conversation right now. You're feeling the vibe that I'm putting out. We're on a platform called LinkedIn. For free, I'm engaging with you guys to have a conversation, to meet you where you're at, to help you figure something out that you've been trying to deal with for a long time, right? I chose a platform to do that. And now that I've chosen a platform, the pipeline is me doing this on a cadence, on a calendar. I already told you guys I show up live once or twice a month. I'm not a burnout guy. I don't show up every single day. I just don't do it. I'm a mother of 5. I like it this way. Okay. But my pipeline is really, how am I managing my relationships on social media, on my newsletter, on my emails, in my DMs? And how do I grow that audience and convert them to have conversations with me further? I'm going to show you live at the end of this call. I'm going to invite you to work with me in an extended capacity, which will require an investment. That's not me selling you. Let me just tackle the elephant in the room. I'm not selling you nothing. If you want to work with me in some capacity and you want a solution, you want an end goal, and you want it badly, and you want it now, and you see someone who could be a mentor and a guide to do that, yeah, you're going to work with that person. And I'm just hoping it's going to be me. Plain and simple. Straight to the point. Right? That's where pipeline comes in. And I'm having this live conversation. One, I enjoy talking about this topic, so I could talk about it at length. I love talking about personal branding and business. That's what I'm good at. I show up in something that it oozes out of me. It's easy for me to talk about. That's the beauty of that. Right? But the pipeline is me being able to do this on a regular basis, where you got a rhythm. Where it's like, let's say you're going through it and you're like, I know Christine usually does a live. Let me go on her LinkedIn and see what her last live is. Oh, I know she's going to show up in 2 weeks. And this is what she's talking about. Yeah, I've been struggling with this. Let me show up live. And then I share with you some strategies that I know is going to be helpful to you. Insights that I know is going to be helpful to you. And you're like, you know what? I think she can help me with this. Let's collaborate. and I share with you and I give you an invitation to do that. And what happens is I've done this so many times, and I share with others how to do this on a consistent basis, because at the end of the day, your personal brand reputation lies on repetition and consistency. If every single year I talk about a different topic every other day, that's killing my brand. But I've been consistent, guys. I've been consistent over a decade. I've been talking about personal branding and business for over a decade. For my original OGs who know me, please let them know. And you can even go through my LinkedIn profile, go as far back as you can. You will see I've been talking on this subject for a long time, and I don't run out of anything to say. So I love talking about this. This is where my heart is. This is my expertise. So now I'm at the pinnacle. I'm at the playbook section. And the reason why I say I'm at the pinnacle is because only a small few of us, when you're seeing people organically getting opportunities and it just seems like everything's coming easy to them, it's not that it's coming easy. They got a playbook, honey, right? They're able to entertain possibilities at scale and with ease because they got a playbook. They got a structure. They got a system. I got a team. My team is trained on my personal brand playbook as soon as they come in every single year. They know what speaking engagements to book. I'll give you a perfect example of this. I almost didn't go to Davos this year. I get invited to Davos every single year. I get invited to World Economic Forum, specifically the meeting, and I get invited to all the different corporate activations that go on every single year at Davos. I almost didn't go because, as many of you know, I just recently had my 5th child. So I was like, I don't know if I should go or not. My team, because they had my personal brand business plan, they know it was tentative if I was going to Davos. So what were they able to do? They're able to make introductions in rooms and be able to receive invitations because my personal brand now gets inbound opportunities. They were able to schedule all my speaking engagements, schedule all my bookings, all activations. So by the time I think I decided, my husband, like literally about a couple of days before, like about 4-5 days before, like, look, I think I want to go to Davos. And like, hey, by the way, we got about 42 different invitations that we already just confirmed, just in case you decided to go. Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what that feels like? To be on the fence about something and to know that your personal brand is still working for you, where emails are going back and forth about you to get you in the right places. To, by the way, for me to keep pushing initiatives that matter to me and my community, i.e. at Davos, I made 2 milestone announcements around launching an AI accelerator to empower entrepreneurs across emerging markets and across the United States with IBM, AWS, Amazon, if you don't know, Google, and Microsoft. So not only did it give me visibility and opportunity, I had a great time, had great conversations, but I'm able to accelerate the initiatives that matter to my heart. Do you know what that feels like? I'm sorry, I'm about to get emotional. Do you know what that feels like to know that your personal brand is giving you ROI because you put the sweat, the time, the expertise, and the energy for years, where now, because you've been disciplined enough to have a structure, to manage your personal brand, i.e. my personal brand business plan, that even at the last minute, I could show up and show up on fire. They even settled the logistics for me. Are we here? That my team can do this. So with that said, when I share with you guys that you need a personal brand business plan, and this is the playbook, this is the structure to do that. This is what I've been doing every single year. Every single year I show up, I have my purpose statement, straight top and center. What I want to be known for this year. Is it in alignment where I am energetically? Have I grown? Do I want to double down on something? Do I want to step back from something? What's my purpose for the year? And show up with that energy and that fire and clarity and intention. I mean, you're going to hear me say clarity, alignment, and intention a lot, because a lot of people are lost and confused. I see it. I see people spazzing out almost every day on the internet, all the time, because you feel like you're having FOMO. You feel like you're missing out on this opportunity. You feel like you're not getting recognized for this opportunity. You feel like you put in the time, you put in the sweat, you put in the tears, and people are just ghosting you. You feel, I get it. It's because you didn't make a decision. And then with a decision, you need a plan. And this is what I'm sharing with you. If you make a decision as to how you want to show up, This is the purpose that you want to work in alignment with. Okay. Now we got to make some other decisions. What do you want to show up as? How do you want people to pick your brain? I always tell people, if you want to monetize your expertise, how do you want people to pick your brain? Tell them, how can they do that? Strategically, systematically, consistently. So when someone says they want to pick your brain, you're excited, right? And then where do you want to have conversations about your expertise? If you're so good at what you know, you should be able to talk to that. I've been talking about personal branding and business development and entrepreneurship for over a decade. And I told you I'm not tired. Right? And if you're giving value at length consistently, how do you convert that into clients? How do you convert that into revenue? How do you convert that into opportunity? Because not everything is just dollar side. Sometimes it's opportunity. I've gone live and gotten speaking engagement invitations because of that. I've gone live and got brand partnership deals because of that. I've gone live and got invited to exclusive events because of it. Because I have a pipeline strategy. Okay. So with that said, this is the structure of building a personal brand that works, right? That keeps you in a space of being strategic and consistent over time. Okay. And so with that said, let's talk a little bit about the 3 levers that people talk about in terms of knowing that this is a personal brand. How do they capitalize on social media? How do they make decisions between newsletters, podcasts, YouTube, what's worth it to do in this day and age? And how do they monetize speaking engagement opportunities? I will tell you. When you have a blueprint like this personal brand business plan, and if you are interested in learning how to create one for yourself, just comment personal brand. I'll share that with you. Okay. Social media, let's start there, becomes literally an avenue for conversations that convert. I don't post every day. But when I do post, it's because I'm doing a conversion conversation where I'm like, hey, this is the challenge that I see that people are dealing with. I'm going live to talk about it and address it head on. Everyone who shows up on on that live, that's usually where my pipeline flow of clients, partnerships, brand deals comes up. Let me repeat that again. I don't post on social media every day just to post random conversations. I post on social media, hey guys, this is what I'm seeing. Hey guys, I'm going to talk about what I'm seeing live at this time for this amount of time. And this is what I'm going to say. Every member of that audience that shows up live for that conversation or see the replay or whatever, that's my target list of people that end up being clients, partners, enablers for my vision. You see how that flows? So with that said, when people are talking about, okay, 2026, social media is a foundational layer. I got it. And I just shared with you the secret of how I manage my social media. What should they capitalize on? Should I do a newsletter? Should I do a podcast? Should I do YouTube? Well, first and foremost, I think every single person should have some type of email marketing strategy where you should be engaging with your network at least once a month, preferably minimum twice a month. If you're not doing that, get to it. Because social media, people have spurts of attention, whereas email, it stays in the inbox in perpetuity, where your thoughts, your advice, your strategic way of seeing things and doing things, it stays in their inbox, unless they delete it, of course. Okay. When I think about podcasts and YouTube, it becomes, where do you want to grow a new audience and keep your voice heard for a long period of time to build a relationship with people at length? You got to make a choice. I always tell people, do not do everything at the same time. If you're working this year on building the foundational blueprint of your personal brand, then it's not the time to be launching a podcast or YouTube, right? But if you are in a place where you're there energetically, where you've been consistent, you're showing up, then make a decision. Maybe you want to do YouTube. Maybe you want to do a podcast. And then one of the best things I tell people when it comes to personal branding, don't do it for the vain goals of having a lot of people show up. Do it because it matters to you. I got close to 100,000 followers across all my social media platforms. And I will tell you, it's not like 1,000 people show up to all my lives, but I still convert at a high rate. And I show up anyway. I remember there was one time I went live early last year and only 2 people showed up on the live. I still did it anyway because I wanted to have the conversation. That live got me a $14,000 speaking engagement. They didn't expect that. I just showed live because I knew it mattered to me enough to show up. You see, this is what happens when you consistently show up, not caring about the metrics and not caring about what people think of you. Because what happens is the universe aligns. One, you're getting your reps out there where you're practicing the art of communicating your expertise. Because a lot of you are very smart and expert focused, but you don't know how to communicate that expertise. So how are you going to get opportunities to be able to convert? That's one. Second, you are also putting yourself out there to show that, that you're there for the right reasons. People love that. I think I've built a lot of trust over the years where I've shown that I don't really care about vain metrics. I care about showing up and I care about having conversations that matter to me. And if those conversations matter to you too, you'll show up with me. Whether it's live, whether it's posted replay, whether it's through my DM, whether it's through an email, you'll engage. And the proof is in the pudding. People have seen my evolution. People have seen my growth. People have seen the opportunities that's been coming my way every single day for the past decade. Is there for all to see. Showing up consistently, that is the personal brand reputation. Because a lot of people get stuck in the strategy. I just share with you the blueprint and the strategy. But at the core of it is your reputation. Do you show up when no one else does? Can I depend on you? Can I trust you to do what you say you're going to do and mean what you say? That's really the heart of it. The heart of this entire strategy is showing up. So for those of you who say like, oh, I show up and no one's watching, show up anyway. If the conversation matters to you, show up anyway, because you don't know if it was one person that heard that message and needed to hear it. And again, you're never at a loss. You're either practicing the reps or you're opening the gateway for alignment and opportunity and abundance to come your way. You're making a pathway highway through the breakthrough that you need. Show up anyway. Okay? So with that said, okay, I know this was a lot. But the point of this entire conversation today was really to help you, first and foremost, have a reset and let you know that if you want to reinvent your personal brand and your business to attract opportunities, speaking engagements, and revenue that scales the test of time, you need a plan. And what I introduced to you today was a personal brand business plan. And the structure of that, anytime we're in a space of reset and reinvention, we need sometimes a guide. Maybe who has done it before. That's why we love idols. That's why we look at people who have come to blaze the trail before us. That's why we look at people who write books and people who show up and share their vulnerability to others. Because if someone has done it before, it shows you that it's possible for you too. And if it's not been done before, at the very least, it gives you motivation to be the first, right? And so what you see here on the screen is that strategic blueprint of how to build a personal brand business plan at scale. And what I will say, if this blew your mind, I think the execution exercise of it all will be even more enlightening. Okay? Executing on doing this, getting that Word document out there, put it up there, stop typing away what your goals are for the year, what your strategy is for creating an expertise package that will serve the world, telling people what your purpose is and showing up front and center, making a decision on where you want to show up live on a consistent basis to have those tangible conversations, and really repeating and being consistent and building that brand equity over time. That blueprint will not only serve you in dividends today, it will serve you in dividends for years to come. I got opportunities from people who have seen me live or do something years ago that I'm converting today as we speak. So if this, again, enlighten you, I do want to invite you to actually take a leap of faith, execute on this, create your personal brand business plan. And if you need help with doing that, one thing that I love to do, because I love doing this, is helping people get out of their own heads. Okay. All right. Because some of you are in your own heads. I know this was a mind-blowing masterclass session that probably enlighten you in areas of your journey of building your personal brand and monetizing your personal brand in ways that you never saw, right? If the execution part of this, because this only serves you if you act on it. If the execution part of this is preventing you from actually taking action where you're like, look, okay, now I know what to do, but I'm still stuck. Maybe you're worried what people might say. Maybe you feel scared and intimidated to put yourself out there on a consistent basis. Maybe you just want to see, okay, what would a calendar of live conversations look like for me personally? What would I talk about? How should I talk about it? How do I package my expertise? If all these questions are still making you overwhelmed and you need some help, I'll invite you to work with me to help you do that. Okay. You have two options. Okay. I can either work with you one on one. I can share the link with that on the thread, right? Where I could work with you one on one, or with I think it was like last month. It was the first time that I invited 10 spots for people. I had a great time talking to people one on one. And what I did was for 3 sessions for the month of January, every other week, we got on live and we just executed on their personal brand goals. We executed on them creating a monetization strategy for one person. And it was different for different people because we all have different goals. One person, it was about, okay, I need to structure my entire personal brand from scratch. I need help with my LinkedIn profile. I need help with creating an email list. And we did that. Another person, like, look, I got all that. I got the speaking engagements, but I just need help converting it on a consistent basis where I can have consistent cash flow. That's what we work with week on week. Another person's like, look, I actually want to get more speaking engagement. Can you help me clarify my brand around that? Each person has their goal. And if you have a specific goal you want to hit and you need help clarifying that, I'm opening the doors again for another 10 spots to work one on one with 10 people for the month of February. Again, I can only do 10 or less. Okay. This is what it is at this point. Okay. That is open for you guys to join. I'll put the link in the comments for you to be able to have that opportunity. I would love to do that. It was really a great opportunity for me to do that. I learned a lot, got to even get on my own headspace of seeing what people are really struggling with right now. Okay. I recognize that through this one on one because I've been doing part time, courses and coaching for a long time. I'm a one to many girl. I have conferences where people book to engage with me at scale. And I'm like, look, it really helped me to see, wow, people are dealing with a new set of challenges. So I enjoyed it. So I'm opening the doors for another set of 10 people to be able to work with me live, okay, on live sessions. Okay. So I'm going to share the link with that for you. Okay. So the link is in the comments. For those of you who are like, look, right now, okay, where you want to go beyond just one on ones. One on ones are great, but you want someone to give you accountability and coaching for an entire year. This is your 2026. You want to show up in a completely different way than you used to from before. Okay, school membership again. I'm inviting a small number of people to be a part of that because I've never done this before where I show up live consistently, private. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me still. I think there was a technical difficulty, which happens. I'm not even phased, but let me know if you guys can hear me okay. And if you can actually see my screen. If you can't see my screen, just give me a shout out on the comments. But what I was saying, yeah, see, this is what happens. So I was just sharing that look, I want to be able to work with people in a 1 year capacity in a way that's manageable, right? And if you want me to be pretty much in your corner, giving you advice strategically for the entire year, I want to invite you guys to my membership club that I'm doing this year. I'm really excited about introducing it. I've never done it before, so I'm definitely going to put a lot of heart and energy into this for this year to be able to provide real crazy value intimately with a group of people that's in my network for that. But I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. So I will put the link in the comments for you to join. But ultimately, my goal is to make sure that more and more people, and I think I'm one of the few people on the internet who talk about this, more and more people learn how to build their personal brand in a strategic way and be able to essentially map out their personal brand business plan, okay, each and every year so they can be focused and ready to go, okay? And so, with that said, I am still think having some technical difficulties. I think someone said that they can't see my face. So let me see if I could get that working. Okay. Let me see. Can you guys see me? No. This is such a day. But yeah, so like look, essentially, yeah, that would be a great way at a year. Okay. So I think I'm back live. I think people can see the screen. Guys, it happens. This is tech, this is social media, it's a day in the life. It's cool. Okay. I'm just happy that I get the opportunity to always have these conversations with you guys, always answer your questions when needed. I hope that today was valuable to you. I hope that you learned a lot from the truest intention of this conversation of a personal brand reset. Okay. And really leveraging a personal brand business plan to really see your goals forward so you could show up in the way that you want to show up. And I wish you guys all the best. I hope to work with you obviously beyond this. So definitely look at the link on the comments. Let's get down. Let's get it happening in 2026. I want to be in your corner. I want to be your supporter. So I'm looking forward to working with many of you this year. Links in the comments. Alignment and abundance in 2026. May you thrive.
Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand. And some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive. Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. First thing you need to think about is being an expert. And what do I mean by being an expert? We already see what's happening where today, if you're not informed as to what is going on, the person next to you could have less experience, but if they're more informed, they will get ahead. And that is the knowledge truth. Keep in mind, there's now a digital economy. And so when you're trying to export your business, you're also exporting your story and you're exporting your expertise. Some people forget that sometimes you could teach your knowledge, your background, your story, and monetize that. So as an expert, the ones who are able to teach that information to their audiences, they get more partnerships, they get more marketing, they get more customers actually. And so I host like a lot of webinars online for free. I do a lot of videos, I do how-to tips. And so that expertise also builds my brand, which indirectly builds my business.
Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand, and some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.